I try to imagine talking to my 10-year-old self about gaming in 2025 and how there's a plethora of options. Any kind of game you can think of, it's kind of out there, you can play it. And that, oh yeah, we've amassed about 1,600 games. And now, 10-year-old me, I think that's amazing. And how do we know what to play next? And it's like, yeah, that's something I kind of ask myself too. Well, a good game is easy to learn, hard to master, and I figure because the backlog is just a collection of games, that the backlog is simple to beat but difficult to complete. See, I've been gaming on Steam on the PC exclusively for about 12 years now. I was always a console generation behind after the PS2 era. My parents, I got my brother and I PS2. And when that came out, I think that might have been the most affordable console generation. And we played primarily sports game. Grew up in a sporty household. Played a lot of sports, and we had a great time with it. But then I remember, of course, the Wii and the PS3 came out, and we just couldn't afford to get it. And I think the PS4 was out for a couple of years by the time I was able to buy, or by the time I bought a used Xbox 360. And I never thought I was never going to be able to catch up with gaming again. Is kind of what I realized. And then through some coworkers, I learned about PC gaming, and the rest is history. PC gaming, I've always maintained, is friendly to the budget gamer. You can go crazy if you want, but it's definitely friendly to the budget gamer, and not just being able to play games, but being able to accumulate them. The amount of sales there are in bundles when you do stuff like Humble Bundle and other sites like Fanatical, and then you got the Steam Winter Sale and Summer Sale, and even though they're a bit smaller, the Spring and Autumn sales, and just sales all the time. You can get all the games you want, but with all these piling up, it can start to weigh on you. But like, I have all these games, and I haven't played most of them, the vast majority of them. Now, of course, gaming is a hobby, much like, I don't know, I'm thinking, so a lot of people collect things for hobbies. I don't know if you collect pennies, stamps, sports cards. I collect sports cards or whatever. Um, and I don't see why gaming can't be any different than that, where you just want to have a gaming collection. And you buy the games, then I personally don't see anything wrong with that. But if you're like me and having always been a bit a budget gamer, I don't know if I'd say frugal, but a budget gamer, I'd make money to set aside for the big sales, and I was gonna make every dollar count. I was gonna stretch it so I had something of every type of genre, everything I possibly would want to play for the next sale. And that's great and all. And as I get older, and I was able to set aside a little bit more money, I start to realize I'm buying less and less. And I think it's because it's pointing to my backlog. And now if I start to feel that, it's not I don't feel condemned for it, and I don't feel terrible for it. Like a lot of us feel like, I think there's an overall stigma of feeling ashamed of having accumulated so many games that you'll never play. I mean, that's the meme that you see all over Reddit and anywhere else about, oh yeah, let's get them and we're not going to play them, and that's totally fine if you choose to do that. But just this past sale that just got over days ago, not even a week ago, I found myself looking at my backlog and, well, my library, and I'm like, I want to reorganize this and seriously take a good hard look at the backlog. Now, I don't have the numbers up on the screen, but I am going to I'm going to try to give you these numbers as far as where I'm at. And it's just like, just thinking objectively about this here. If I have about 1,600 games, and I've only completed 120, that's less than 10% of my backlog. And if I've had my account for 12 years, 120 games, that's 10 games a year. Now, If I look through my completed games, I know I got several games in there that only take a couple hours. So I feel like that number realistically is much lower. On top of that, I have so that's like, let's round that down to about 100. And then I say I have 200 games that I've said that I'm done playing, that I just, and a lot of them are actually sports games. When the next iteration comes out, like I played so much of it and I got my use out of it and I moved on to the next one. That's one of the things, that's actually where a lot of my time went over the years. So I played a lot of endless games. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but if you got a backlog, you're gonna kind of have to take a sacrifice away from endless games, whether they're roguelikes or live service or whatever, sports games. Just a thought. So about 200 there, and I have a little less than 300 at uncategorized. I haven't touched yet. So, and those are ones that I don't know if I don't know if I want to beat them or not. That's something that I have them uncategorized. But if we do the math there, that leaves us about 1,000, a little less than 1,000 games. Otherwise, we're about a little over half of them are games I've tried, and I kind of have to go back to, and I have to decide, when am I going to be done playing this, or do I want to play any more of this, or do I want to try and beat it? And the other half, right now it says 463, is actually what my backlog's at, and I just recently reorganized all this, so that might not actually be, 100% accurate. But with that in mind, I was looking at that number, and I was like, the average Steam game, I feel like, isn't really that long. I think I saw something where like a lot of games are actually in the 5 to 10 or 10 to 20 hour area. Of course, if you're not going for 100% completion, which I'm long past. I achievement hunt when it's convenient, but I'm not an achievement hunter like I used to be. So I think our backlog is really a lot simpler than we're making it out to be. When we have so many games um, that are shorter to beat, I mean, you can use great resources like How Long to Beat, and it only takes, like right now, I'm playing Detroit Become Human. I'm not done yet, and I actually probably would have finished this week easily if I hadn't spent so much time trying to learn how to edit again. Um, I only have a few more hours left, and that game's done. But I think it was like 12 hours for one playthrough. Anyways, there are a lot of games that take less time than we would think if we're not going for 100% achievements. And one thing is, I'm done going for 100% achievements. I've said that. I don't want to keep going at that. But with that in mind, it's like, okay, if I take the time this year, I'm not gonna say I can't play endless games. I really do like playing some endless games. I just picked up WWE 2K24. There'll always be a side of me that kind of wants to play some sports games or whatever. That is totally fine. But I think just making a conscious decision to pick one game, and work on one game at a time, and maybe you rotate through a few. So like right now, I got Detroit Become Human. I also have Crosscode, which says it'll take around, like, I think 40 hours. Crosscode, I'm about halfway through. It's probably gonna take me longer than that because I honestly love it and I want to do everything about it. But the reason why I have no gameplay for it is I'm actually playing that on the Steam Deck. So I don't know how I'm gonna capture footage of me playing games on the Steam Deck. We'll see about that. But I'm working on Crosscode. I'm slowly getting through that. I'm about to be done with Detroit Become Human, and Skate City looks like it should only take a couple hours. Those are games right now that I'm like, okay, I can beat these. But as I'm going through in my library, I'm like, I think there are so many games that are only, 10 to 20 hours that I'm like, that's how much time I average in a week gaming. Just between being a husband and a dad, I game when I can, and sometimes we can't game. So that's one of the things that makes this, a little less practical. But like, let's oversimplify it for a second and say that the average game were 20 hours. I have no idea if that's right or not, but if that's 20 hours and you average 20 hours a week, that would be 52 games a year, or 50 games in a year, use a round number, and then I said it was like 463. That's like almost like 9 years to finish that. Now, obviously, that's oversimplifying it, but here's the thing: is like I've kind of realized is that I've heard I've heard my buddy told me he has a certain criteria for games he'll look at, and he uses the phrase which I like, but I kind of modify it for myself. He says life's too short to play bad games, and I kind of say that life's too short to play games you don't want to. And so as I go through here, if I'm focusing on one game at a time, if I'm not having fun, I think it's just time to chuck it up. And I think this game I thought was gonna be fun, or I've been throwing, and I just realized I don't really like it. And when it comes to cost sunk fallacy, there is honestly a lot of things in life I think besides video games that we've spent money on, or that we regret in some way, shape, or form, and I don't really want to make gaming one of those. So I'm not obligating myself to beating each game, but I want to try each game and kind of really go at it. So what my plan is here, 2025 is the year that I'm gonna start streaming again, a couple days a week, noon to 3, but it's really dependent on my schedule, my family's schedule, and I have a really flexible schedule with the way things move. But I'm gonna go one game at a time, and I figure I'm gonna talk about it each week. Each week, I'm taking clips of games that I've played, and I'm gonna upload them onto here. So if you want to join me for that ride, please just subscribe. Otherwise, thank you for watching this video. Just let me know in the comments what you think, and happy gaming.